Hello, Intro to Philosophy students. Mike Harper back with you again. I wanted to kind of comment on a few things about the introduction week, and then I'll probably make a few videos for the next 2 weeks. I think Dr. Gallegos does a great job of presenting a video that has content that you should be aware of as you walk through the next 2 weeks. I'm not going to probably reproduce a lot of different stuff. It's very much the same things that I would share. If there's some additional thoughts that I want to add, I'll put an additional video in there. But I think he does a good job for the most part of covering all the content. He's does an excellent job actually of covering very lots of details about Plato. But above and beyond that, I just wanted to kind of also say that he's the one who has made up the course, and then adjunct instructors usually take that shell and information and use it for their courses to adjunct. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. Again, there is opportunity for any adjunct to recreate things or change things, or maybe even eliminate some of the content that Dr. Gallegos has. But I just wanted to let you know that that's a distinguishing feature of this class, is that sometimes you're going to see a lot of his information, but I am the instructor. And so you want to communicate with me and through me to be able to do the things you need to do for this course. Okay, that's the first thing. I'm going to start by sharing my screen to talk about a couple things that are in the introduction part. So let me take a look here and show you what I want to talk about. Sometimes hard to find it when you have to do the share screen on here. There we go. Okay, let me share this, and then we'll come back to another one real quick. This is the timeline that he puts on here. He's made this up, a timeline of major Western philosophers. And then some of these are in here. They close that out. Some of these serve as historical figures that make time references to know where you're at. But Moses is way early on that timeline, and then you've got Homer. But then soon after Homer, you've got the flourishing of ancient Greek philosophy. So you're going to see a lot of that there, but you're going to see some of the pre-Socratics in here: Pythagoras, Thales, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. The three big ones run one right after the other. And then you get a kind of a slowdown, but then a lot of philosophers that come soon after that, and early Roman philosophy and early kind of Middle Ages philosophers start to become more prominent, and some religious philosophy of religion kind of comes at the forefront of that as well. And then you get the modern period that starts to begin to flourish a little bit. And then obviously as you move to contemporary philosophy, you've got a ton of people here that you would be able to take a look at as well. So I just wanted to share that as well with you, but also I want to kind of share some different things with you. I'm going to go ahead and stop the sharing there, and then we'll come back and I'll share something different real quick. Let's share this, and hopefully that makes a good break. But this is the couple of the slides that show some introductory information in terms of categories to think about that. And so I'm going to do the PowerPoint presentation. Hopefully that shares on the video. But again, you see Dr. Gallegos as being the person that has come up with this, but I think there's not going to be a lot of disagreement here. But the three areas of philosophy that are major categories, major questions, the primary area is metaphysics, epistemology, and axiology. Metaphysics is the study of reality, asking the question, what is real? Ontology is another way to say that, but I'd say ontology is focusing on what are the things that exist? What are categories of things that exist? And so that's one way to distinguish it. Epistemology is the study of knowledge. What do we know? How do we know it? Our main questions. He has logic as being a subcategory of that. Primarily because you use logic as a tool to do philosophy, both metaphysics and epistemology. But the idea is that logical reasoning helps us get at the truth better. And so axiology is value theory, or the study of morality, or what is good, what is the good life. And he shows political philosophy being a subcategory of that as well. But I wouldn't disagree with much of that at all. But moving on, he does specialize in epistemology, so he breaks down knowledge a little bit here and shows you some things to think about in terms of knowledge. But there's knowledge, which is justified, some people would say justified true beliefs, and then belief, subjective mental acceptance. So knowledge is what we're striving for in any type of rational pursuit. We want to know things, not just believe them. And then he shows theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge. I'll let you kind of take a look at that. The last area here is he shows relativism. I'm not sure exactly why he shows this, but I think it ties into the lead up for philosophy with sophism, the pre-Socratics, the Socratic focus on Socrates and then Plato and Aristotle. But many of the things that kind of come up here is it talks about cultural relativism, and he uses the example of Protagoras of Abdera. And one of the main things that is a phrase that's attributed to him and kind of captures his philosophy, it says, man is the measure of all things. And so that's relativism. It means that what I think is what I think, and that is the reality of things. I know things by my own perceptions, but that's relative to me. You may have a different perspective and you may think you know things. And so there's this contrast in what we think we know and what we think there is. And if it's relative to each person, it's obviously highly subjective. And one of the things that kind of cashes out with ancient Greek philosophy is this pursuit of the epistemology of how do we know things? And you're going to see that unpacked in the readings through Socrates, is the study of how do we know things, but also what is real, the study of metaphysics. One of the big challenges that kind of comes up in ancient Greek philosophy is how do we know things, but also what unifies all of this experience, all this diversity of experience, all these diversity of things. What is the one thing that unifies the many things? So what is the one over the many? And so those are big areas that kind of come up in philosophy for sure. I just wanted to highlight a couple of those things as well. I'm going to stop sharing there and kind of close off for this video. But again, just a quick introduction to know what to do when you see some of these videos, and just kind of pay attention to that he has told you how the course is laid out on Monday through Saturday as a 6-day week. But these sections in 16-week sections are laid out in 2-week intervals. And so you're going to have some things that you might have to do that first week, but then you'll definitely have some things that you have to reply and do things on the second week, is for sure. But you're going to see these in 2-week increments. And then as the semester goes on, the last part of the course are going to be things that I will be able to introduce and put into the course as well. And we're probably going to focus a little bit on ethics and a little bit on philosophy of religion, because I think those are two areas in which introduction to philosophy will obviously generally head into. I could do a little deeper dive into metaphysics and epistemology and maybe even axiology, but I think we're going to do a couple branches off of philosophy to do ethics and specialization in maybe philosophy of religion. So that's kind of where we're heading. And so again, if you got questions, don't hesitate to email me and keep in touch with me that way. I'm going to try to figure out how to do Zoom sessions for office hours, but I'll try to nail down exactly what those office hours are as well and post that. All right, till we see you again next time in the next video.